nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. We've got a full table tonight here. Robert, how are you? Let's test you out. Last time we tried this, you decided that you didn't want to do it.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm all good. I'm good. How's everyone doing? Good to be here.
Doing well here. Rafa, how are you? I saw some pictures. They may have been photoshopped. I'm not sure, but sounds like you had a fun time at the coast.
Yeah, I did some fishing with some buddies from Del Rio and had a good time. So glad to be back. And what a way to end things this Saturday with a win. So,
Royce, no pictures last week. Last time you had no issues here. So sorry for the boring entrance, but how are you?
Boring.
I do have a bone to pick with Royce here. The Hall of Fame.
No way.
The 2022 Hall of Fame first year ballots. Are any of them actually Hall of Famers?
I don't think so.
Neither do I. So
like you can have an argument that this turned into a baseball podcast. Look at us go. You can. There's an argument that Kelvin Rodriguez he was really dominant there for a while, and he really was dominating the league. He was on the Angels. He was on the Brewers. Very good. I don't know what his numbers look like, so I couldn't tell you.
I don't think it's Hall of Fame though.
The total.
Just good for a couple of years should not be Hall of Fame in my opinion.
Beltran was probably the most feared center fielder there for about 10 years. So yeah, he has a case, but at the same time, his inclusion and kind of his blacklisting from the league, you got to wonder if that'll come into play. And I don't say that as like me, like, oh, he cheated or whatever, which like that's a dark spot. But at the same time, his career before that was good. So it's kind of a Barry Bonds-ish.
It's his career
before that. His career before that was Hall of Fame, but after, I still think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. But
yeah,
but the baseball media sometimes didn't see eye to eye that way, and once you've done something bad, they kind of blacklist you.
It depends. It depends on who you are and what team you play for,
and what you did too, though, because Rose is still depends what you did.
Rose signed for it, so that's his own issue. But to me, if it's because Red Sox and Yankees also cheated just like the Astros, but yet it's the Astros that catch the most grief. So we'll leave it at that.
It was the most blatant. That's why. But yeah, I mean,
cheating is cheating. What's up, Matt? Try to keep us out of trouble tonight, my friend.
And I hope you're feeling better, Gamez.
Yeah, hopefully you'll be out this Saturday, right? The 30th. Against the Liam Doyles and the judges.
The fighting Liam Doyles. Yeah.
So, but to kick off, San Antonio Athenians season was going to end anyways, but it ended in the semifinal rounds in the UWS National Championship against the Chicago Mustangs, who ended up winning the UWS title. So that's the second year in a row in the semis that the Athenians lose to the champions. This one was kind of rough, for Aaron how they lost. It was a 0-0 match, tough. I'd probably give the advantage as far as you play to the Chicago Mustangs, that they were probably the better team, controlling the action. In the 79th minute, the Athenians gave up a PK in the box, and then the Mustangs did miss it. However, in the 82nd minute, they got that goal back, and they ended up losing 1-0. Great season, San Antonio Athenians. Can't wait to get out there next year. Hopefully, schedule works out a little bit more where I'm able to get out there a little bit more and be able to provide a little bit more coverage. But Represented well. Rafa, your thoughts on once again losing to the national champion?
Yeah, I did get to see some of it on the live stream, and it was an even game. It was a physical game too.
Mm-hmm.
You got little things that got chippy, and it's just sometimes you have to have luck on your side, and that day Chicago had it and able to get the one goal to take them to the final, and then like I said, they end up winning it all. So but hats off to all the ladies there at the Athenians, great season, regular season, and then they get to be in this position again like they were last year. So they've built a really good foundation in these last 2 years as far as building the program, and now they have this at the bar high, and hopefully next year maybe the third time's a charm, and they end up winning the national championship. So we're looking forward for their season next year.
Robert, I know you kept up with the Athenians quite a bit this year. Your thoughts on their season overall?
I mean, you have to be proud of them. I mean, that's great exposure for the city, for themselves. I mean, they represented well. The big thing I took away is I understood that too. They held that was the top scoring team in that league. So they held them pretty tight, played a tough game. Like you said, nothing but good things for the future. I mean, that's about marketing the team and then bringing in next year better players. So it's nothing but positive.
Royce, any thoughts from you?
I mean, 2 successful seasons in a row for sure for that team. There's no other way to. I mean, yeah, championship didn't come out of it, but at the same rate, 2 very successful seasons in a row. Go after them again, and just keep at it. It's exciting that their success is exciting, and I think they'll build a bigger fan base because of it.
Yeah. So moving on from there, unfortunately last week we were going to record on Monday and Tuesday, but work unfortunately kept me late to where I wasn't able, and then Rafa was out of town, and then I went to El Paso over the weekend. So we unfortunately didn't get to cover the Atlanta United match here. Let me go before we jump into that. Let me keep to our thing here. Initial thoughts on the week. We'll start with you, Robert. Any initial thoughts that you have before we get into the Atlanta United and then the El Paso match?
I mean, the big thing is just keeping it rolling. I mean, they've continued to show results. I'm excited about what's to come. Just stay healthy and then continue the positive winning streak.
Rafa, any initial thoughts on the week?
I mean, I think now the pieces are starting to come together, and we're starting to get on a roll. And I think some of the teams out there are starting to fear us. I can even hear it from the commentators on the El Paso game. There is like a sense of fear of our team. That's just how good, and I think the respect too.
To me was respect, more than
fear,
but
sure.
But there are some teams I think may be afraid of us because we're just that loaded as far as. And like I said, we haven't had the same lineup back to back in games.
Sure.
That's the scary part. And now that we're getting, like I said, we saw Manley back this past game. Collier was back on the lineup. The only one that's out is Lorera. We're coming at this kind of similar like last year. We're getting healthy at the right time, but I think this year we're just a lot better than we were,
deeper
and deeper too than last year. And hopefully, maybe I know we're still missing maybe one piece to maybe kind of solidify one area, which we'll discuss later. But come playoff time, I think we're going to be battle tested and ready to go. And I think one thing Marcina has is this team is focused. They're on a mission. Yeah, we won this trophy, but hey, we want more. I think that's the thing. Stay hungry because the goal is to win the USL championship.
Royce, your opening thoughts or initial thoughts on the week?
Yeah, I mean, a week doesn't get much better than that, does it? They're getting, for me, the big thing is they're getting healthy. They're getting healthy at the right time. It's the beginning of the second half of the season. Also, they're playing better, which is crazy at the beginning of the second half of the season. And we'll see if they can keep up the momentum. We've all, form is one of those funny things that is can come and go. And right now it's
Look at the switchbacks.
It's been with them. Yeah, that's correct. So that's also another can of worms with depth and
Right,
lack
yeah,
thereof. But at the same time, I mean, you're not wrong. There are a few MVP candidates there on Colorado, and you wouldn't know it from their last couple games. So, man, we'll see. But at the same time, it's exciting. And I mean, like I've said before, it's such a privilege to cheer this team on. And it's crazy that this is a team that I support. It's nuts. It's nuts. And they're awesome. And they're good people too. That's the crazy part. So I'm happy. We're having a good time. We're having a great time.
So let's go back a couple of weeks here, Atlanta. We won't delve into it a lot here, but we'll go through the highlights. I'll just run through the stats real quick, and then we'll move on to the big match this week here, which I think had everybody's attention on here. Of course, the videos courtesy of YouTube and USL Championship here. These are the highlights from SAFC and Atlanta United 2. This was on 7/16.
First time ever, San Antonio FC and Atlanta United 2 will meet here on Valley Sports. Made mention of as they attack on the wings, and they're aggressive. Go after San Antonio, but this is where they leak a lot on the back end as Adeniran finds PC, a little touch over Patino, and SAFC on the
Rafa doesn't think he was offsides, but I thought he was.
Yeah, that's
So
close.
he wasn't offside on the initial pass, but when PC takes a touch
when he
in the
touched
middle,
it.
then he was offside. I think it's a correct call.
Yeah. And watching it.
Don't just continue.
replay.
Just continue.
Just continue.
Don't go back. Just don't go back.
SAFC, all three of their defenders are in the top 8.
And this is
when it
dirty.
comes to
This is
clearances,
dirty.
which shows you just
This
how
is dirty.
good of a unit they've been all season.
Hustle by Maloney.
Yep. Hustle by Baloney. And buddy.
SAFC on the board in the 13th minute.
Yeah, when you make back clearances, we're gonna make you pay. That's a perfect example there.
And it's funny, someone was saying that part of SAFC strategy was to give you the ball immediately, but right in front of your box so they can quickly take it back.
That was a nasty goal there.
Chef's kiss, Patino.
That's what we're missing, like that outside. Like
That's,
so many of our goals are in the box. That
I
was
know,
like
hey,
very few in the whole
I know.
season.
Hey Rafa, there's your dream.
That's my first outside goal.
That was the and I don't understand what the defender's doing here. Like, he's going away from the goal, and you're just going to shove him right in the middle of the back. It's smart on Coutinho to turn his back, but at the same time, as a defender, where's he going? He's going nowhere, and you're just going to run into him.
Yeah, it reminds me of like in football when the pass interference, they just turn around and jump into the like jump into him because you get
Pretty much. And bomb. That was absolutely bomb.
And that was ball game, guys. I know they continue to play, but that was ball game.
Absolutely. No, that
First thing I
was,
noticed is how it rattled. Look at the
and I will say the
rattled the
cool.
whole goal.
Oh, for sure. And it came out of the net. Like, that is a fairly loose net. It normally doesn't shoot out like that.
This is a sweet ass goal.
The cool thing about Patino's brace, his mom was in the stands, and it had been a while
nice.
since his mom got to see him play. So
That's just a nasty goal right there.
Oh, dang.
Right off the
Goal.
shoulder too. I thought it went off his head, but it's his shoulder.
yeah, he kind of missed it, but at the same time, you know what? He didn't miss the goal, and that's all that matters.
That was still sweet. I don't care.
And then the second penalty, pretty obvious. Goalie did not go to play the ball, and said he got all of PC. Pretty obvious penalty there. I don't know what everybody was complaining about. PC, like,
He
He had sandwiched, yeah.
why do you have your hands up? Like, what are you calling, buddy? Like,
I'm surprised that wasn't a straight red because he didn't make no effort to challenge the ball.
if the defender doesn't get a touch, it's dog so, but the defender gets a touch first, which is fine. But at the same time, the goalkeeper runs into the player, like, obvious penalty.
Look away, look away.
So pretty much what happened there, Dylan is looking the entire time in the right corner. That's where he wants it. The goalkeeper goes there, and Dylan tries to pull it the other way to score. He just skies it. It is what it is.
Still.
But at the same time, he needed that. Dylan needed that. And you can see it on his face. Like,
Justin
God.
Dillon's got his 6th of the season.
That was a deserved goal, but
Oh, for sure.
when it comes to PKs and Dylan, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have a whole lot of confidence.
I see. I do, and that's the difference. I do, and the reason I do is the kick was good. That not the one that goes over. His thought was good to go where he wanted to. He just and his thought to change directions when he saw the goalkeeper go the way he was going to go. You just got to work on. You got to keep it on the ground. That's it.
Yeah.
And he tried to put his boot through it to give it some pace. Whenever you see a goalkeeper, and that's something that Dylan needs to do, is take his time. Whenever you see the goalkeeper, and Robert, you can speak to this. Whenever you see the goalkeeper commit to one direction, all you got to do is roll it in the other side, my guy.
Just don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
it.
Like I think he's in his own head, kind of like a relief pitcher in baseball. You're like literally overthinking it. Just do what's natural. Like
he could have Palenka on that one. Done a Palenka on that one because he had to keep it.
That's what I mean. That's all he had to do was keeper commits. Okay, let's go.
It's more about. I think he needs to do more about placement and finesse.
Exactly.
You don't have to kill. You don't have to kill the. I know Coutinho's he used power on that, but I think time to really be sure if you've had trouble, with penalty kicks, use the finesse and placement, and then you can kind of build up from there with more of the power.
So, stats for this game, it's just as ugly as the score. We had 25 shots. They had 6. We had 15 on target. They had 1. 6 corners, 2. We did have 16 fouls. They had 11, but 2 yellow cards. We had 5 big chances. We missed 3 of them, so it could even been more. 19 shots in the box, 6 outside. Their goalkeeper had 10 saves and gave up 5 goals.
I will say, to continue on some stats that we were talking about that I didn't want to conclude until the Atlanta game at least. That is now 5 matches we've played. USL Championship East teams. We have given up a total of 6 shots on goal and 1 goal in 6 matches. 6 matches being 540 minutes. Pretty good. Pretty good.
That one kid named what's his name? I didn't really see him. Traeger. I didn't even see him the whole game. They kept talking him up. I was like, is he even playing? I was like, I saw Conway one time. Yeah. And then Traeger, he was non-existent. He was
Tristan Traeger, the forward, number 21. Yeah, him and Jackson Conway had been lighting it up.
Right.
But
that's what I'm saying.
Wasn't Conway out?
They were gone.
No, they're in. But to be fair, the guy that was pulling the trigger for them, Mertz, we found out later after this match, was traded to the Riverhounds. So,
Riverhounds, right. Yeah, that was the big thing, was that, they had a guy, their metronome in the middle, that made everything happen. He was out, and you could tell, and Traeger had to come into the middle to try to fill that spot, and it didn't work.
Yeah, it
didn't work.
But
it worked for us. It worked for us. I mean,
but you could tell going into the match, it was a game men against boys.
I will say this. This, I think, was a perfect welcome back from your 2-week vacation match, or 1-week vacation, whatever you want to say, because Atlanta United for the first 5 to 10 minutes took it to SAFC. It was power, it was pace, and they kind of surprised me with their pace and their intention. And Atlanta United really was swarming for the first 5 or 10. And then SAFC remembered who they were, and they got their legs under them, and it was pretty much church from there. So
there was 2 things that were obvious. Like what you'd see is that it seemed like they were coached to say, like, hey, when they bump you, you fall, because those guys were falling. Like they got hit in the back, they would fall every single time. And at first I was like trying to equate it to like maybe they're half the size of most of our players, but no, it seemed like that was what they were coached to do, like just to gain the advantage. And then they were almost late to every challenge, and it included maybe 2 additional penalty kicks that they didn't even call. It's like the ref reached his limit. He's like, there was one on Dylan and Baloney. Baloney got destroyed.
Oh, Baloney got that was disgusting.
But the ref's like, how many more penalties could I call? These kids are late on every tackle.
Yep. And then Dylan got fouled in the box. That was just as obvious, and I guess the ref was just like, I guess he mercy ruled, if there's such thing as a mercy rule. Which surprised me, every tackle. Right. Which surprised me why he still gave 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the match. You think at the 90, he'd just been like, all right, enough's enough. We're done here.
Let's all go home.
The one key out of this game, and we noticed, is we never allowed them to play the ball from the back to their midfield and set up their offense. In the beginning, we did allow that, but then when after that we shut it down, and they just could not muster anything. And they looked lost, and they were intimidated right after that when they got shut down, when they knew they couldn't do anything else. So, that's just kudos on how we've been playing the last few weeks. It's not allowing them from playing from the back.
And to me, the other talking point of this game on social media was Tainer coming out in the 72nd minute and Maloney coming out in the 81st minute because they had both been perfect on minutes. Tainer, I think, was more to protect the yellow because he was sitting on a yellow, one yellow away from having to sit a match. And last thing you need him is to pick up a silly yellow, and then he's sitting the El Paso match.
Also, it let Carter Manley get a couple,
Correct.
get a couple 20 minutes to make sure that he was good to go and everything was all right, which he looked fine. He looked like Carter Manley out there, which is a compliment.
And Maloney, like I said here,
I saw Tainer wasn't happy to see that.
He was Maloney, Delem came in for Maloney, also same thing as well, giving him a couple of minutes to start.
Sure.
So while, yes, we don't have any more Ironmen for this season, no player has played every single minute for this season. I think that's a smart thing from Marcina. You're halfway through with the season. We're up, and we can afford to take out 2 or 3 of our most important starters. One, that's just a bonus. That's amazing to be able to do that. And 2, it's going to pay dividends toward the end of the season. So for sure.
Well, I know for Tainer, he didn't want to come out. I know that in Maloney the same way here, where as a player you don't want to come out. And could he have played the game? Sure, it wasn't along those lines here, but I do think it was the right call. For that here, I did also thought that Patino coming out still on the 45 minutes, instead of giving him the opportunity to try for the hat trick, and same with Sam Adeniran came out in the 62nd minute here. But
I will say real quick, think about it this way. And I mean, good Lord, it happened again in El Paso. We'll get to that in a little bit, but if Patino stays in, he's in the place of Bailone, and he gets taken out in the box with that kick. And we know Patino's injury history.
Correct.
We are questioning why Patino was still in that match. So,
no, it is to me though. But usually, if you got somebody with a brace, you give them 5-10 minutes in the second half to try to see if they can get the hat trick. But I think Marcina's smart. He's managing the minutes, he's managing the cards. Which after we discuss this next match here, PC is on
Patino's
card watch now.
He's on a pitch count though. Patino, you can totally tell. He has him at certain minutes. He's going to play X amount of minutes, and boom, he does it every game, and it makes sense to keep him healthy long term.
Right.
But
the biggest thing is that this past injury and mostly last year's injury, those are stress related injuries, and you have to manage that. And that's the medical team talking with Marcina to limit it, and it's smart. You get the most out of your asset. The player is happy. The player gets to play and gets to be successful. That's all you can ask for. That's how a team is supposed to work.
Moving on to El Paso. Let's do the highlights here. Guess we need to rewind it here.
Lone Star bragging rights on the line tonight. San Antonio FC, Locomotive FC underway for El Paso, Texas. UConn Husky family through and through.
Mitch Tainer, man of the match for me.
Oh, bounced.
And I have a different one.
Man of the match was the crossbar.
Crossbar, that's a starter.
Like, no doubt.
Maloney,
it should have been
Maloney impressed me so much in this game. He was everywhere. Defense,
Maloney,
offense.
left wing, forward. Oh, absolutely. I completely agree.
He was everywhere in that game. That one time when he stopped like 3 crosses in a row, I was like, holy smokes.
Wicked shot from my boo there. just off target.
Abu, the last few games, he wants a goal. He wants a goal. Abu's been going for it.
Another great save by Jordan.
Oh, for sure.
First, great work here. And that play on, says the referee.
A little pass there.
Up by Abu. On the other side, that's off the crossbar again.
Buddy.
That should have gone in.
Great counterattack by San Antonio.
He is so dangerous.
Another quality chance, but put off the crossbar.
He's so dangerous. Like, whenever he gets the ball, it's like I get excited. I'm like, I just wait for something cool.
In for the goal.
And Bettini with the nutmeg there on the keeper.
Doing what he does.
A raton.
Latino.
Just poaching goals, one way or the other.
And I love Tainer after this. I love Tainer after this. If they should, I think it's in the highlights.
No, he runs to the crowd. They're booing him. He got it's either him or Garcia got the chant afterwards on another one.
Oh, they hated Tainer.
Yeah, I know. As soon as he showed some.
Oh, they don't show it. I might pull it up, but during the, he's all like this, pointing to his badge as he's going across all the fans.
I saw that. They were booing him. As I heard the boos go when he did that, it cascaded.
And then about 20 minutes later, what a save. And
then
20 minutes
right there.
Oh, absolutely. With the right hand coming across. Yeah, and then about 20 minutes later, one of the El Paso players decided to take out Taintor on a basic cross. What a miss. Unbelievable miss.
The one I was talking about, Harry, like that was their quality chance. That guy just he whiffed it.
Yuma, the diving bastard right here.
Mm-hmm.
No way. I don't believe
Watch him.
Yeah.
He just falls down.
Yeah, he tries to put like a pick or
I think that should be a yellow card. I know he didn't get up and do any theatrics, but if he would have got called.
No, he wasn't diving. He was just trying to block Favre's vision. And
I think he was just trying to get out of the way. Yeah, get out of the way of the ball.
Kind of like a screen, I guess you could say, like trying to get in the way and then moved. So
he wasn't trying to play for a foul. He was trying to play to make their free kick successful.
He's a knucklehead.
According to Reddit, r/USL Pro, the villain of the league. So there's that.
So the stats, the possession wise, was all El Paso, 67%, 33 to SAFC. However, we still
I read an article that said something different.
Yeah.
However,
like I said,
I'm sorry.
An article later. We'll discuss it later. I support the article. We'll discuss it later.
Any coverage is good. We'll just
there you go.
Total shots, San Antonio 13-12. They only had one on target. We had 5. They had 9 corners. We had 4. We had 20 fouls. They had 15. It was a chippy match, but 3 yellow cards. They had one big chance. They missed it. We hit the woodwork 3 times. And then, just the 23 clearances, 15 interceptions, 15 tackles to 9 for them, 6 interceptions and 14. To me, it was the typical El Paso San Antonio match. It's El Paso controls the ball. San Antonio still has equal or above the same amount of shots, and really it comes down to which team can finish, and that's how these matches are played.
One thing about this game, if you notice, every time they played the ball wide, El Paso just couldn't pass it right, or it would go out of bounds, or we defended it well. I know Tainer was there's one play that I think Maloney kind of got beat from his space, and they sent the ball out to the Cheetah, but Tainer was able to kind of steal that ball away from him. And like I said, that's their bread and butter. As far as their offense playing out wide, we just took that away from them. And just kudos to our 3 guys in the back, just cleaning up and sweeping everything out and not allowing Mexico space to play those wings.
And we'll get to the mess in El Paso in a little bit, but I talked to Christian after the match and text Phil from Seriously Loco. They were upset about the substitution patterns, especially when it came to Francois, because I thought he was the person that was going to help create that goal. He may not have scored it, but his speed going down there and then be able to cross it in when he came out, I don't think they have the same, same attacking style. But I know El Paso's got a lot more issues, we'll just say, with losing two quality players in Richie Ryan and Sebastian Velasquez that both left last week for probably very similar reasons. Pay-wise, I know one was a little bit more friendlier than the other.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I think the Richie situation is very much a baffling and unnecessary one. I think Sebastian Velasquez has been looking to go back to Europe. Remember, before the huge
COVID
rocket
and stuff,
salvo, no, it wasn't COVID. It was
the rocket. That's
it
right,
was
the rocket.
bombings between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and literally Sebastian Velasquez is
that's
temporary residence being between rockets being launched. I could see that as being scary. I remember going on Twitter and trying to reach out to the U.S. ambassador to Israel to be like, hey, you have a U.S. citizen that is not comfortable. Can you help him get out of there? And he went to the wrong team, but whatever, it's fine.
But to me, the reason why I say that is because
go back to Europe. So
I do think El Paso, especially if you're an older player, they're not offering the same contracts, and that's with Richie Ryan. They offered him, according to Seriously Loco and others, they offered him a 30% pay cut, and he basically said no. And then all of a sudden he's not practicing with the team, anything along those lines. It gets reported to the USL Players Association because they're supposed to have, if they're under contract, whether they're playing or not, supposed to still have coaching. So there's that issue. Where Seba, he has a house in El Paso, but to me, I do know that they typically make more money overseas, and that's why I said he could probably see the writing on the wall, and especially for next year's contract, to go ahead and make the move now and try to get there. That's why it means somewhere there, but it's two completely paths. You're correct.
With Ryan though, like to me, is it 30% on next year's contract or this year? Because the timing, why do it in the middle of the year? Unless
why? Because he wants.
The timing didn't make sense. Like did he go up and say, "Hey, are you going to sign me or not?" And then they presented that 30% because it didn't. The timing didn't make sense. Like in the middle of the year, it's weird. Unless it's this year.
They're negotiating their contracts now. Maybe we should reach out to Cody, and kind of have that discussion. Go ahead.
This is a huge thing that. I mean, I mostly follow baseball and hockey, to be honest, but it's a big thing between baseball and hockey is you negotiate your deals before the season. Once you're in season, you don't say crap. You figure it out after the season. And this is why, is because the negotiations, the arbitration brings up so much bad blood because it's basically the team saying, this is the crap they couldn't do. Exactly. And these are the reasons why we want to pay him less, which it's a business. That's what's going to happen. And this is why you don't negotiate in the middle of the season. This is why you arbitrate.
But I also think it's unique for Ryan because if he's out of contract, we know that he has ties with Mark Lowry in Indianapolis. If he knows his future isn't there, if he wants to try to make that jump over to try to move through their hair. But it's a valid question. Maybe something that we should ask Cody on kind of in season negotiations because. You're right. It probably never works out well because unless you meet the demands, it's going to leave a sour taste in the players.
Right.
He forced the issue midseason. Like, why not? Even though in a front office, they're like, let's table it. We can talk about it before the next season starts. But why do it right now?
That's what I'm saying. Was it the player that forced the negotiation, or was it the team that wanted to talk? It's weird. Who knows? For him to be shut out of practice. That kind of tells me it was team motivated. That's some bizarre stuff there. That's some really bizarre stuff. For the team to it's turned into an El Paso Locomotive podcast. Look at us.
Well, it was big news though. It was big news for USL
practice. It's fishy. We'll find out. This is the fog of war. You don't know. Facts will come out later. We can talk to Cody. I'm sure he knows a bit more. Or we'll talk to somebody that's also bearded who may have some information that wants to talk to us off the record. And we'll figure out something that's going on.
There you go.
But to me, substitutions. Abdul Salam came out 45th minute. Gomez went in. It seems like Salam's on the minute count coming back. PC and Patino subbed out in the 62nd minute for Bologna and Jody DeLem. Unfortunately, Bologna in the 69th minute got subbed out for that here, and Nicky Hernandez came on, and that was the subs here. So outside of the injury to Bologna, which hopefully speedy recovery, and Manley took some knocks as well. He was surprised he finished the match because he had a couple of rough knocks.
Yeah, he got a couple shots to the head that I was surprised that he was up, and he honestly he never even looked like he got his bell rung. He was just like, "Ow, okay, let's play."
The second one was more like in the stadium. It was more his tailbone area because he came down hard on it. But that was the second one after falling. So I know they were like double checking. Hey, are you still good?
Right.
But that one was more of the tailbone.
The one for the corner kick.
Yeah, where Lucho pushed Garcia into him.
That was Lucha. What are you doing, man? But no, that was definitely one. And concussions are one of those things. I'd say the dreaded C word, but concussions are one of those things where it doesn't just necessarily hit you, boom, you get a big hit, and you got a concussion. Sometimes it could be little knocks, making that up. Landing on your toe bone, you're gonna, your head's gonna jolt one way. Mm-hmm. So all of those little things can add up. So hopefully he's feeling all right. Obviously, we're not gonna know until Saturday. But man,
it's good to see him out there.
Hopefully he's doing all right. Yeah, I mean, he was definitely on his feet, but it's also one of those things that hits you in the morning, like the morning after.
Yeah.
So
it wouldn't shock me against Vegas, which is a Wednesday match. If maybe he's rested, assuming that, because on the injury report that came out, Jasir Kamiri was out due to an illness. Hopefully, it's something just minor and he's back, for the Vegas match on Wednesday. But thoughts on San Antonio's win, which ends up making us the CopaTejas USL champions. There was no public trophy presentation, and we kind of learned that.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like they didn't let us celebrate.
Well, it's like we saw that.
In Austin, I saw.
We saw that with Austin and FC Dallas and how through there. I do know that Mike Check and Jenny Check were able to go into the locker room, present it. It's from the Crocketeers, so there was some fan intervention along those lines here. In talking with Danielle and Steve, they're working with SAFC to have some sort of presentation. Whether it's this game or the next game, because this game's the Spurs night, so I don't know if they'll
from
what try to override the Spurs night. Let's be fair here.
Just do it anyways.
What we've heard from undisclosed sources, the schedule is already busy, and so it's probably going to be, which makes sense. I would also not want the trophy, the CopaTejas trophy presentation to be done in front of Los Dos from LA. What do they care? Let's do it in front of the hated rivals RGV to show them, hey, suck it.
So I do have a question for you guys though, and I tweeted that this morning here, kind of reflecting on the weekend. Team wise, at the club level, it seems like El Paso, San Antonio is a much bigger rival than it is between the fan bases, for that here. Yeah. Compared to San Antonio RGV, is it mainly just and to be fair, Aaron tweeted this out, that San Antonio's won 4 in a row or hasn't lost in 4 games, either ties or wins against El Paso 4 in a row to pull ahead of the head-to-head series, where the RGV head-to-head starting to really for the last 2-3 years, really heavy lean towards San Antonio. And while the matches are fun and chippy, I know fan base wise, it seems like we're more rivals with RGV. But do you think really the long-term rival is really with El Paso?
I think that originally it's because of logistics. I think because RGV is closer to us. But like I said, last year, remember the last 2 years, we had Austin Bold. So you could also put a claim like Austin Bold was really kind of our primary rival before the RGV because it's up 35. And El Paso's out in the boonies and stuff. So, but like I said, it is starting to come a lot, but I still think RGV is our main rival.
I think on the field it's El Paso though, because the quality they put out for year in, year out, it's something we kind of, in my mind, I was somewhat jealous because like they were a new team in this league and they made the semis in the play, in back-to-back years, and like, what are we doing? We're always like the one team out of the playoffs, like the last slot. So to me, is on the field is like absolutely. Off the field, not so much. I mean, there's some friendly banter. I feel it's cool, but it's not as heavy. Like I guess off the field is what I'm trying to say.
Lest we forget, the first season we are leading 2-0, and RGV comes
back.
No, they're leading 2-0. We come back with 2 goals to tie it. Everyone's excited in the stadium. Air comes out of the sails. RGV scores. I remember those moments of just hatred and not being happy, and that
RGV also knocked us out of the playoffs our first year too, when we went down to RGV and got our ass kicked and kept us out of the playoffs in 2016.
Right. And I remember those 3 years as just being disgusting. And now we've pretty much owned the last 3 or 4 years against RGV. It's been fine, but I will not forget those. And every time we can hammer them further into the ground, I'm happy.
But I think Robert's right. At the club level, though,
El Paso, I think there's 2 factors why El Paso, what are we doing here? El Paso might be considered a rival. And those 2 factors are Lucho Solignac and Yuma. Those are your 2 factors. Without those 2, El Paso's
I think El Paso's more a rivalry to New Mexico than really us.
Right. I agree with 100%. That's their main rival. But I don't think, at least for San Antonio, and like I said here, I've been poking the bear, at Seriously Loco, and probably after a couple of weeks after things have calmed down a little bit over there.
Bear game ads. Let's chill out, bud. Anyway,
Matt needs to, take a chill pill here a little bit here. That Twitter timeout was just a warning sign. Come on, buddy.
The thing I noticed too is like RGV's front office, like the last year or two, doesn't seem to be taking the idea of putting out a quality team as serious. Like they're like, to me, it's almost like
it's been head scratching.
They've kind of like giving it. I don't want to say they're giving up, but it feels like they're just we'll take any players at the last second. We'll fill a roster, and then who cares who shows up?
It's the roster consistency that I think with them that it's on the club level. It's hard to do it. And Matt, shit talk isn't shit talk when you kind of cross some lines, dude.
Did you see maybe this rivalry, like I said, like us and RGVs, like Texas versus Texas A&M, and then the New Mexico is like, not New Mexico, El Paso, like Texas versus Texas Tech, as far as that kind of that scenario. Because like I said, it's just proximity. For us being close to the valley, it makes it more of a rivalry than the distance that we have us in El Paso. Even though Robert's right about the club, being a little better, more quality. But I think we just have more history, like when you mentioned, Royce, those bitter defeats. I think that's what plays in that. That's more of a rivalry game because we really haven't had maybe one little bitter defeat with El Paso, but we don't have that history yet with it.
I think it's more Texas versus Robert. I think it's Tech. I think you're on a little bit of a thing there with A&M being RGV, UT being why was I going to say UTSA? UT being SAFC, but I think El Paso would more be Oklahoma. Like that, the history is kind of there. It's kind of getting built up. But it's not your main rival, but it's there, and it's been competitive both ways. With Texas Tech versus UT, there's been a lot of one-sidedness there until the recent maybe 10 years.
And let's not forget, when we went to, was it 2019, when we went to the 4-team bracket, we didn't play El Paso that year. And I think we played on, or were we in the same?
We lost to them at their place.
So I do think having that year, and maybe it might even been 2 years where we weren't directly influenced with them.
Right.
That I think
It was 2020 when we just had the 4, and it was a Bold, it was RGV, and was it Tulsa?
no, Oklahoma, the Energy.
Oh yeah, they were around, weren't they?
Oh, there was a five. There was
Tulsa
5 of
also?
us.
Yeah, Tulsa was also in there, right?
There was 5 of
No.
us.
Tulsa was not.
Okay, well, fair. Oh, that's right, because they were good. They were a good, and they were a good on their own side, and they were playing St. Louis because it was St. Louis's last. That's right. So yeah, and they were playing SKC and
Yeah.
Birmingham. But yeah, it was those 4. And yeah, that's right. It was Bold, it was RGV, it was Energy, and it was us. That's right. And we dominated that. And that's right. Yeah, that was 2020. That was the COVID year when they had to completely change schedules and all that. When they brought back the league, like in July or whatever they started playing. So
Yeah, so 2020 was El Paso, New Mexico, Colorado, Real Monarchs. Actually, I stand corrected. We were San Antonio, Tulsa, Austin, RGV, and the Energy. So we had both Tulsa and
that's right.
We were a group of 5, not the group of 4.
That's right. And Tulsa was the number 2 team on that, and we were the number 1 seed. Yeah.
And then 2021, I want to also say it was a little bit abbreviated as well. Oh no, it wasn't.
There were groups of 8. Yeah. So we were all together, but it was a group of 8, and we played everyone like 3 times.
Yeah.
It was one where like they played them like over and over and over.
So, but looking at the standings here, just kind of quick recap on the East. Louisville City, first place at 43 points, 20 games played. Rowdies right on their tail. Also 5 games winning, unbeaten streak at 42. Memphis is starting to slow down at 39. Pittsburgh's warming back up at 37. Detroit City at 35. Birmingham suffered, to me, kind of a rough loss to Tulsa, sitting 6th at 32. Miami FC's at 31 and 7th, and then there's a gap of 6 points to Tulsa, 9 points to Indy, and then rounding out, you got Hartford, Atlanta United 2, Loudoun, Charleston, and the Red Bulls, who lost to Monterey Bay 2-0. Sam Gleadle got a goal here for here. Out west,
And
go ahead.
Assist by Jason Johnson.
Yes, and it was nice. It was good, and that was with them down a man as well, by the way. San Antonio FC, 15-1-3, 19 games played, plus 20 goal difference, 46 points. The team that I think is probably the second best team, and we haven't faced them yet. San Diego Loyal at 40 points. They played 2 more matches than us, and we're still up 6 points. The Switchbacks have kind of stumbled here recently at 40 points as well, dropped to 3rd. New Mexico United with 20 matches played at 35. El Paso, 23 matches played at 33. The Lights, who we play on Wednesday, 20 matches played at 31 points. And I did double check. LAFC is not playing, so we'll probably get a fairly decent Las Vegas team on Wednesday. Sacramento, who's in Open Cup tomorrow night against.
Isn't it Wednesday though? It's a Wednesday, the 27th.
Or Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday the 27th. I want to say Sporting Kansas City.
They play Sporting.
Yeah, Sporting Kansas City, Open Cup action. Probably going on the same time that SAFC matches. So, if you have Apple TV, dual screens, or if you got multiple TVs, one on each one, because that'll be interesting to see how Sacramento does. 8th place, LA Galaxy, also at 30. 9th is Oakland Roots at 23 matches played, 28 points. RGV's in 10th at 24. Phoenix Rising's in 11th with 24 points. Orange County, the defending champions, 22 points. And Monterey Bay at 20 points for that here. So thoughts on the table, anything that sticks out to you? So right now, playoffs would be Sacramento at San Diego, SAFC with the bye. Sacramento at the Switchbacks. 7 versus 2, 6 versus 3, and then New Mexico and El Paso would be playing with with New Mexico hosting currently as we speak in the West, and then San Antonio would get the lowest seat available, that advances in the round 2. But thoughts on San Antonio outside of Sacramento has 2 games or 1 to 2 games on average against most teams. Against Oakland and El Paso, they got 4 matches on them. So, thoughts on the standings?
It's like a broken record. Like, we're in good position, continue to stay in good position, stay healthy, get hot at the end. I mean, it's a simple formula. The only thing I do want to comment on is like relation to the East, talking about the rankings from what is it, Nicholas Murray?
Nicholas
saying
Murray.
Tampa's
Power
number 1.
ranking. It's
I don't
so
want to
before
hear
you go
that.
too
Stop
far.
saying that, please. It upset me. Like, they said, they have a 10-game unbeaten streak where that team tied Charleston and Tulsa. It's like, come on, do not sell me that bill of goods. I'm not listening. I was like Royce mentioned earlier, 6 shots on goal from the East, 1 goal. I mean, come on. Like,
In
let's
5
get real here.
540 minutes.
And let me guess, he's from Tampa. Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. My rant's over.
So, to me, the crazy part about San Antonio's record is 11 matches have been played on the road. They're 9-0-2. They've only played 8 matches at home, which is the lowest in the league. So, and after they finish, so they're going to have 12 matches played. That would be 20 matches in. So the second half of the season really is going to be played here. So form, health. San Antonio's in the driver's seat on how they've set up this season to be able to host every single game, including the USL Championship playoffs, which would be a first, if memory serves me correct, in the modern USL, because Louisville and Tampa seem to, I believe, are the only ones that have hosted in the modern, recent modern history of USL Championship title game since they've gone to this format. Any other questions on USL overall? I know we kind of talked a little bit about El Paso. Anything stand out news-wise from anybody?
What's going on in Phoenix with that tifo for the Bandidos?
Oh man, that's rough. That was a rough run.
They need.
That's how USL memes got a hold of it, and they said,
That
"Hey,
was a rough one. Yeah, it's a rough one.
we are trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty."
With Carvana.
So one thing that's happening in the league that I think is a positive, I was going to make it my moment or whatever, final thought, but just it's a thing in the league that I thought it was neat. Monterey Bay FC transfers Robbie Crawford to Charleston Battery for an undisclosed fee. It's a move that affords Crawford, who is expecting his first child, the opportunity to return to his family in the Charleston area. Very cool.
That is very cool.
You like to see that. It reminds me of the St. Louis Cardinals a number of years back had a young rookie, second year maybe, outfielder by the name of Steven Piscotty, and his mother had ALS, and I remember that story. Very limited amount of time. She lived in the Bay Area. She lived in Oakland. So the Cardinals basically traded him for cash considerations, basically peanuts. Cash considerations means
down the road, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about
We'll scratch you a check later.
Well, it's not even a check. It's just think about it. We're trying to
especially if you're trading him to the A's.
Right.
Yeah, do the right thing. Yeah.
Exactly. But they did right by their player. They let Piscotty go, and he's still playing for the A's. But to go, be with his mom for her last. And
no, for sure.
So it reminds you of that. A good feeling. Good on you, Monterey Bay. Good on you, Charleston. Obviously, I mean, it's kind of obvious to do when you're in Charleston shoes, but at the same time, good on you, Monterey Bay for that move. That's awesome, and you love to see that. And you would hope that the league, more teams, if that situation occurred, more teams would abide and
do the right thing for the player.
No, for sure.
Pull that trigger on the move.
So, Rafa, you did mention that there was one position that San Antonio FC needed to correct, and we kind of just, me driving back on I-10 just flew by it. What was that position?
That's goalkeeping. We need a backup goalkeeper. I think nothing on Jude. He's a great player. but he's not. If God forbid, make sure we light our candles and do our rosaries. Nothing happens to Jordan, but just to be on the safe side, we do need to have an experienced keeper. Look what happened last year, and we're lucky to have Jordan to finish on that playoff ride when the beer went down. But I think we do need to sign an experienced keeper, just for the long haul, just because you never know, and in that situation, at least we have somebody that we can plug in. And like I said, we have a great defense. We just plug in a keeper that can just make some great saves when they need to, and we'll be fine. But I think that's something that does need to be addressed. I think they need to sign before the cutoff. I think the cutoff was in September.
Do you think they have Jude there, and then they have a Cardoni on speed dial just in case?
No,
Hey, just in case we need you in the playoffs, if something were to happen.
Too busy with the law school.
Just one more time, come back.
Maybe they have Mercado on speed dial, but
Mercado. Isn't he? Where's he training? He was training with SAFC earlier in the year.
Yeah. Maybe they have Dane St. Clair on speed dial. He has to make
Congrats to him on making the All-Star team.
Yeah, and the national team.
For sure. That's awesome. For sure. Yeah, and he's probably going to be at the World Cup too. Unbelievable. And
they're talking about a starter.
Wow.
They're talking about possibly him starting because they have that older guy that I saw him play. They're going to infuse some youth. The rumor is he might even start.
Mr. Capri's with the fist pumps and everything. Yeah. If I've ever seen a Canadian dude play soccer, it's that goalkeeper. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like he looks like super old, vintage, classic.
And here's why the Banditos did what they did. Phoenix last win was May 28th against Hartford. And that includes a loss to Loudoun United. And it includes a loss to Vegas.
And we lost to them twice.
Yes, we lost them.
We had a
-5 goal difference against them.
You look at our 14 goals, 5 against.
That wasn't a sound effect.
We had 14 goals conceded, 5 against Phoenix all year. 5 of those 14 are against Phoenix.
Yeah.
But remember, we weren't 100%. On
that first match in San Antonio, we were out our forwards and we didn't have all the ammo we have now.
Sure.
But the match against Phoenix, we had so many opportunities and we couldn't hit the broadside of a barn on that game using a baseball term for Royce there. It was, dude, they could have had an open net and they would have done they would have kicked it to section 118.
They would hit the crossbar over and over.
So the final topic that I had tonight, it's the summer friendly series, or what I call the cash grab. Some fun sites, some fun games. I don't really watch or pay attention to them too much. Any thoughts on anything with the European teams over here stateside? And they've been entertaining for what I've watched a little bit, but I know we've had some Man City fans that traveled over to Houston to watch them play. It was Club America, I believe.
America.
And then a couple of them went up at and experienced Green Bay, which, to be honest with you, that did look like a pretty cool experience along those lines. But any thoughts on the summer? The European teams coming to the United States for summer vacation.
It's just they're just selling their brand. That's what it is. Selling, and also to look at what their signees. We'll see where they're at. That's just basically it. How much money you can grab. I know me and Scott went to one a couple years ago with Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. So when the cool part is we got to see the practice. So
nice.
The day after, but like I said, it is a cash grab because I saw some of the ticket prices. But like I said, I guess people are willing to pay that instead of going all the way to Europe to go watch some of those games.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity for them.
It's a cash grab. It's marketing. It's all of the above. And if you ask Minnesota United, it's like they're on top of the world now. They beat that team 4-0. They're talking about it over and over.
Well, Charlotte beat Chelsea, I think, in PKs. I think it was.
It is like a glorified vacation for those guys. Those guys are from Europe.
saw some teams getting blown out 6-7-0. I think Inter Miami lost to somebody, along those lines. So,
I mean, you also have teams going to Asia. I know, like Liverpool was over there in Thailand, and so it's basically, it's like I said, it's just a cash grab, but to market their team, sell those nice new jerseys.
I mean, to be fair, it's the same thing whenever Cardiff City came and played in San Antonio. So, I mean, it is what it is. But the hope is that the team beats the domestic team over here and not lose 4-0 to Minnesota United. So, what are you doing, man? Oh, buddy. And to go back, to circle around real quick, we outshot Phoenix in the game. We lost in Phoenix 3-0. 25-23. They had 9 shots on target. We had 7, but those 25 and 7, a lot of those came before Phoenix scored their first goals.
Yeah,
we just didn't put away our chances.
That was a frustrating game. But to me, for SAFC, the big matches are against the Loyal coming up. They are a team that is deep. They are a team that is quality, just like San Antonio. I'd rather piss on. They're the team I dislike the most. Part of it's Landon Donovan. I'm not a Landon Donovan fan. I know he was a great U.S. men's national team. I was Dempsey all the way, 110%. So to me, the Loyal, like I said here, that's the team that I hope we just destroy. And I hate. I don't know if you've ever watched a Loyal match. I hate their TV production, and it's nothing against them. It's just the stadium that they're in. I get that, but yeah, that's the team that I personally would love to just beat to heck. But
you're talking about the guy that gets like obnoxiously loud for no reason. He starts screaming. I watched it. I was like, why is he yelling? It was like also like all of a sudden gets quiet. And it's
like takes it back to the midfield. He passes to the left wing, and then
it's just like what the. It's like not good audio.
It sounds like he's always way too close to his microphone when he gets excited for no reason. Yeah, exactly.
Like, why are you screaming? Just turn it down.
We're at a reasonable time at 1 hour and 2 minutes here, so let's move into final thoughts for that here. We'll start with you, Robert.
Well, 2 things. Like Rafa mentioned something earlier about respect by other teams. What I caught in the El Paso broadcast is like a young lady that's not Duke, but the other young lady. She said she was afraid of San Antonio getting a goal, and as soon as we got our goal, it almost seemed like she respected the fact that, oh God, this is the one goal, and then now we're behind the 8 ball. So to me, that screamed respect. I heard what you said, and it's like that struck a chord with me when I heard that. And the second thing is in that game, Maloney, all over the place, working hard, hustling, doing everything that just maybe doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but he literally was my man on match. His work rate. I know they always talk about the high motor guys, but high motor is one thing. And then there was times when he was like putting on an offensive display, and they were even mentioning, oh, he was Penn State's like offensive player of the year in the Big Ten or whatever. It just shows he can do a little bit of everything, and to me, that was impressive. And the last thing was the lineup change. Manley in the back, Tainer on wide. I was like, wow, what's going on? Are they expecting him to? It just shows that Marcina knows what he's doing. And like I said, I trust him.
Rafa, let's hear the fishing stories from you. Is it really photoshopped, or did you actually catch it?
It was a speckled trout that I caught there at Rockport.
There you go.
So I had fun. There was a good relaxing time. But my final thought is, it has to do more with the media side. I know I got a little flag with some of the comment, the little tweet and so forth, but kudos to, like I said, my SA for covering, but also even KSAT's been covering SAFC. I wish the other stations would cover SAFC, because they right now is you don't want to. I don't say, oh, they're jumping the bandwagon, but this team has earned, especially the last few years, has earned the coverage, and if we're gonna build soccer here, if we want to be better than the town up 35, our media's got to really embrace our team, and they need to showcase them a lot more. And we're hoping that we keep on winning, keep on doing this, and hopefully we get the title. Hopefully that'll open the door to get more coverage and so forth. And hopefully even in Landis, like with the Athenians having their success, because I did see KSAT did cover the Athenians. So
Sure.
I mean, hopefully that'll lead to bringing an actual first division pro team for women, because I think it can work well here in
Absolutely.
San Antonio. So that's my final thought.
Royce, your final thought?
I was going to say, I mean, we talk about Maloney. Obviously, I mean, not taking anything away from Maloney, but it could be the same thing can be said about Fabian Garcia. Same thing can be said about Mitch Tainer. The same thing can be said about PC. Same thing can be said about Abu. This team's just incredible, man. But it's the individual pieces that make it incredible, and each individual piece is incredible. It's great. And my final thought: I love my family. They're the best. They're the greatest. Second to none. They're all in this room right now with me. You just can't see them. So
Then-
having a good time.
So my final thought, I got two of them. One, it's to me, at least once, especially if it's on a weekend, make the trip to El Paso. If you stay at the DoubleTree or the Marriott downtown, it's walking distance to, to the stadium. Eighth Notch does a great job hosting at B17s. It's an oyster bar, decent food, beers were good. Live entertainment. Fun banter along those lines here. But it's also got the art district right there. So if you go up there for the day, and I know Rafa can kind of chime in a little bit more, you can make a family event on this here to where, you leave Friday night, get in early, late Friday, get up Saturday, be able to walk everywhere, down and experience a little bit of downtown El Paso, along those lines. The stadium, the stadium's not bad. It had the baseball nets, which suck. But AJ's been both to New Mexico and to El Paso, and he thought the El Paso stadium setup was just way better than New Mexico. So, as I know we talk about, hey, it's a rivalry. It is a Texas city. I know it's 8 hours away, a couple hours on flight, but to me, if you are going to do an away match, if you can, outside of RGV, that is one where I think would be well worth it. At least one time, just you can do the culture and stuff like that. My second one there, I know we highlight this quite a bit, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's now just 988, so a real easy number. If you have any need any assistance, questions, anything along those lines here, it's a simple 3-digit number, 988. So if you ever have any questions or need anybody to talk to, reach out to, you can call that number, where you can get professionals, or if you need, if you don't feel comfortable and you just need somebody to talk to, obviously I would be available. And I think any of us would reach out for you guys, but just keep in mind with that. Anything else, guys? Rafa, did you want to chime in on El Paso? I know you're a little bit more familiar with it than I am, but I know you helped walked me around the first time we went a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we didn't get to find that taco place, but they have decent tacos. Not as good as ours, but just make sure don't go to Chico's. Anyway, but yeah, there's fun things to do there. There's also like the Franklin Mountain Park. You can look around the Franklin Mountains. You like cruising around. You can actually drive through the mountain. You can park there. You can see the whole Chihuahuan Desert. You can see Juarez. So there's some good things. You can go around there. The outlet, they have an outlet there, so you can go there. So there are some fun things. And then White Sands is not too far away. I think it's like a 45-minute drive, so you can go experience that as well.
You know what the best part of El Paso is, though? I mean, bar none, is
walking away with 3 points in the Copa Tejas trophy.
Yeah.
I-10, getting out of there, jumping on I-10, going to that's the best part of El Paso.
Yeah, going to
the casino.
So, but seriously, I had a great time in El Paso, and like I said here, would encourage any San Antonio FC fans to make the trip over. Eighth Notch will take care of you. Seriously, Loco will. Thank you to Christian for meeting with me afterwards. Do have to give a huge shout out to Dan Vaughn as well, who runs Protagonist Soccer. And I met up with him. Did you know that Whole Foods has a bar there? I didn't know Whole Foods had an actual bar, but yeah, we went. He's like, meet me at Whole Foods. We'll go. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go to a juice bar. No, it's an actual.
Every Whole Foods has a bar. Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We'll
Yeah,
go
the
to
real trophy.
culture
The real
yourself.
trophy is
and
not
go
the
to
watch
Whole
party,
Foods,
Royce.
dude.
If it's not HEB or Walmart, maybe Central Market every once in a while.
Harry brand loyalty Austin over here.
Maybe hopefully next year they'll have a bus to go out there. That'd be cool to take a bus out there with a bunch of SAFC fans.
Be all right.
And also, if you got $2, now would be a wise time to invest in the Mega Millions, I believe it is.
Oh,
So
yes. Is that tonight or tomorrow?
tomorrow night, I think they're on Tuesday. So if you got a couple of bucks to throw to the throw away, it could pay off.
I could buy a stadium for the team.
Yeah, no. I'll be an investor. I'll be an owner. I was like, I'll make a bid real quick.
Rafa, you'd be the goalkeeper coach.
I'll keep it the same. I just would be the owner.
But thank you for everybody for tuning in. Let me see here, Matt. Thank you for the you thing there, and yes, we can't wait till Saturday. Robert, Rafa, Royce, the 3 R's, like I said, are awesome to have a great show with you. I should use my middle name Raymond for the show, and then it would be the 4 R's for that here. Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome. Oh, go ahead.
No, I didn't know your middle name was an R. We're the 4 R's. No, we need to do this rebrand already. Like,
yes, awesome. And we got to do it quicker than we think, because what was it, August 6th, August 8th, somewhere college soccer kicks off. I know UTSA has a exhibition against
Texas State. That'll be a rivalry game.
Team up in San Marcos. I don't mention them, for that here. But then they also have Baylor comes to town?
August the 14th, Baylor comes to town, so that should be a good one. So if you go to have chance to go to Park West, which is off of I-10, off of 1604, between I-10 and Bandera. Great facility, always, and also UTSA always has a good job, having us hosting the soccer games there too. But also shout out to the other teams like A&M San Antonio, Trinity, St. Mary's, and like I said, Our Lady of the Lake, St. Mary, just to name a few. So check out their games too. They're going to be starting up this first week of August.
And me and Rafa, and we might see if we can recruit somebody else to kind of maybe do a little bit more college focus show in regards to it, with all the local men's and women's college teams coming up, and we've started seeing some of the schedules coming out. So be on the lookout. Royce, you're not wrong. We need to start working on the rebrands like now for that here. So please get on it. Robert's creative. Need to get Robert maybe making us some logos and stuff for the different shows, and then we can implement them. But was a pleasure, everybody. Hour and 15 minutes, a little bit less than that. So nice, timely show. I know Royce would like us to get it under an hour. 45 minutes would be getting there. So I don't know.
I don't know if you've noticed. I could talk all day. It's my life.
But what's life without goals? We're out of here. We'll see you maybe later on this week with a recap of the Vegas match. But if not, probably Sunday or Monday next week. Appreciate it. What's life without goals?
See ya.